Thanks for having me.
I need a live pianist to just play sound effects on his board. That's what I need. Y'all seen in my basement, our technology was failing for whatever reason, and we are having technology fights. So welcome to the basement layer of the Panda where I work out. What you're about to see is shocking. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, she's from Whitefish Lake Reserve Band number 128 in Treaty 6 territory. Hope I said that right. So she's a wife of 19 years, like I said, a mom of 4, and going back to her roots as a farm girl who hunted, hauled wood and meat, she used the sport of strongman to conquer her postpartum depression. So talk to us, Ange. How did you get into strongman? What happened? Let's go back to the very beginning. I know that you had told me that being a mom is hard as F, which it is. I understand postpartum depression because I went through some of that myself. So I know that's kind of where it started. So let's take it back. Let's go to the start.
Well, it all started with my first baby, but I thought it would be only one baby, but little did I know I popped out 3 right after. So that was really hard on me because I got pregnant right away. So I didn't know how to handle those emotions, everything that came along with it, baby after baby after baby. It was so hard. So I was always into sports in high school. I was always playing some kind of sport. I was always a very good athlete. So I knew that always helped me overcome everything I was going through in my life at that time. It kept me busy, it kept me grounded. So I kind of used that when I had kids after I started getting through not feeling healthy in my own ways and, just feeling that postpartum coming on. But little did I know it was postpartum depression. Back then, I didn't know anything about postpartum depression. Mm-hmm. I just knew I was feeling something that I couldn't control. At that time, in my mind, I couldn't think I could control. So I remember being in my bedroom. I remember laying down, not being able to get up while my kids played around. It hit me where I was bedridden most days.
Wow.
It was awful. And I knew I needed to do something. I needed to get up and do something because I knew these feelings weren't right, So 100%. I started walking. The only thing I had to my name that I could use was a stroller. Because I grew up poor, we were poor raising 3 children, 3 small babies.
Yep.
We didn't have, at that time, we didn't even have a vehicle, we had to work our way up. And so I remember packing up my babies and just walking. If it was a nice day, I would walk more and more and more and more. So I started getting better in myself. So springtime came around and I found a tractor tire and I hauled it to our school. I just lived down the road from a school and I hauled it to a school and I freaking loaded it off and I just started flipping that tractor tire. I just sat my babies in a car seat and I flipped and I flipped and I flipped and I flipped. Hello?
I'm still here. Don't worry. I turned off video because y'all, she out in the boonies and the internet's like, listen, you can only have one thing. So I think the most important thing is to have her voice. Yeah. So I can relate a lot about the postpartum depression in a lot of different ways. For me, I grew up poor as well. Not a lot of people know my story. I try not to share it too often because it is private, but it does shape who you are. And when you don't have like a healthy, strong community of family and friends around you when you're a new mom, and you don't have a ton of income to go to mommy programs, you're just exhausted because you're doing everything at home by yourself 24/7. Like you don't have family or friends or cousins or people to come over or aunts and uncles. Like it's bloody exhausting. So even if the programs are free, you're just tired. Like when I had my first son, I was just beyond exhausted, and I started doing what you were doing with, like, because I had a stroller, but I lived in the hood at the time, and it was really dangerous. No, I'm serious. Like I could tell you horror stories. I was really scared more than once. I had guys who tried to stop me thinking I was a street worker with my baby, and I had to somehow get home. And I think that happened 2 or 3 times, and that was like enough for me. So then I got a subsidized membership at the pool by my house, and I would walk there, and it was kind of like a ghetto pool. So it wasn't like I was the only mommy in there, and people would be like, oh, your baby's gonna drown. And like, it wasn't a super positive environment, but they started baby aquafit classes, started doing that. And that was huge. And that was just for me not to lose my mind, just to get out, try to get moving, get healthy. But, you know, I started training actually Highland Games, and it was something I wanted to do way before I had kids. And I started doing that. And then I found out actually it was an Indigenous woman. She's named Strong Heart Muriel is her first name. Strong Heart is her Instagram name. And I saw some photos of her. And then Susanna, who's a personal trainer, strongman. She's also from Canada. She's Thai and Thai. And I saw their photos, and I can't remember, it's been too long now, but that's kind of what got me into it. And it really did save my life, because it transformed it in a 360 way. So I understand 100%. And I don't think that people understand, we talked about before on the show, postpartum depression, and why that is so common now. It's because women are completely caught off from what's normal and natural in nature and tribal communal living. It is not natural and normal for a woman to have her child strapped to her 24/7. It's just by nature. And I think women have that, then the pressure to work on top. If you want it, great, but it is hard. And
It's hard.
And it's stigmatized, like nurses and people in the hospital still, I don't think, deal with it well. Like they'll ask you things like, oh, do you have anxiety? What's your genetics? Does it run in your family? That has nothing to do with it. If you have none of those things and you do not have a community support system, you're still going to struggle. So for me, it was like, that's all there was for me. I felt like way too tired at the end of the day, working from home, to just go and dance at the bar with people who I didn't really care about, who weren't moms, who weren't in the same boat as me. Because you want to talk about mom related things, right? So I'm like, well, if I want to let out my stress, if I can't talk about how I feel, I got to let it go somehow, right? And that was working out. So anyways, I can 1000% relate to what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do in my life. Actually, it was my lowest point, and it was my highest point, because it was what made me who I am today. You know, I think back and I just realized, like, man, that made me really strong when I was really weak, you know, when I really had nobody but my children. And I had no one to turn to other than my husband. But at the same time, my husband, he didn't really know too, right, what was really going on, because he worked in camp. So he was gone all the time too. But like I said, he was our provider at the time. You know, I was a stay-at-home mom. My babies were small, and it was really, really hard. But I remember just praying every day, and every day got better and better and better and better and better.
You know, it's so crazy.
My babies grew. Yeah, it was a struggle.
Yeah, I still struggle. You know, it's because it's not like I had to pull myself out of poverty. I had to pull myself recover physically from, you know, making the babies and how it changed my body. And then just all the parenting skills I had to unlearn that I learned from childhood that were unhealthy, and then learn all the positive stuff on top of that. And then, like I said, work from home, because, you know, daycare was an option for us at the time. So it was because I had to redo my resume. I'd been self-employed for a long time, and I had bad business partnerships, and just my business at the time just closed down. And so I was like, well, I'm going to have to start from scratch. And that's painful, man. That's hard to do. We have to like shed like an eagle, shed every fucking feather to relaunch yourself. And that's what I had to do. And it was like an all or nothing type of deal. And I cried a lot, you know. Dance definitely gets me through a lot of things. But I remember when I had my first son, my midwife happened to be a pastor's wife. And I called her in my house, and I was like, I literally was not suicidal, but I literally believed I couldn't do it. And I had nothing left to give. Breastfeeding is exhausting. Like I formed both kids because for my mental and physical health to recover, I just couldn't do it. I did it for as long as I could, and that was that. I wanted to be the skinny white magazine mom who capable of all that, cool shit and perfect selfies and summer dresses. Yeah, it just happened. So, but anyways, I prayed with her too. And she that changed my life. And I'll never forget that. She said, she cried. She got on her hands and knees and held my hands and prayed with me. And she was bawling. And she's like, you can do this. I believe you can do this. And she knew that I had like zero faith in myself. And I'll never forget that. It was beautiful. So I believe God is taking me through every single moment to use that pain to help others. And I feel like that's what you're trying to do with like your community. We talked about that before, is you want to inspire, teen girls, and your daughter obviously starting to live too. And you want to show your community that you can get out. And that's how I feel about my community being, a foster care kid, being from a single mom, and all this, like, being from the hood. I feel like, I have to show that you can, you don't have to fit that cookie cutter. You don't have to come from money. You don't have to have a bank loan. You don't have to have all of these things to get through. It may take you longer than other people, but you've just got to find the supports where you can, make the moves for yourself. But it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to get up and walk without somebody kind of high-fiving you, cheering you, right? Which is how I feel for you. Like you said, you had to drive really far to the gym to start training. So like I said, you postpartum depression, you started lifting the tire. Then what happened next?
Well, I entered my first strongman competition in 2018, and I ended up winning in I can't remember where it was. Winterfest, Manitoba.
Let me pull that up. Pull up your history. Hold.
Manitoba. Yes, we went to Manitoba Winterfest 2018, and I entered my first strongman tournament competition. I went in not knowing what I was doing, of course.
Yeah.
And I just thought, okay, well, I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna see how they go. Little did I know I was gonna get called up right away, and I ended up placing second my first go, and I just fell in love with the sport. I just knew as soon as I picked up those weights, it was so me. It was like a breakthrough in my life. I was like, oh my God, I found my calling. This is my calling. Well, little did I know that freaking calling would take about 5 more years to go until I actually got into like freaking lifting at a competitive level that I am in now. It took me 5 years to find somebody to even help me, to get my foot in the door. Actually, no, not 5 years, 4 years. But still, that's a long time. Yeah. I searched high and low to find people. And I remember praying about it. I remember saying, God, man, like this is going on almost 5 years. I'm ready to throw in a towel. Like I can't find nobody to help me. I don't know anybody around here. I searched high and low. I've been to Edmonton gyms. I've been to gym in St. Albert. I can't, I'm done. Well, little did I know, I showed up at the gym the next day, and lo and behold, I met my cousin Colton Sloan, who is now
shout out.
Yes, he now has his pro card. He's the first Indigenous pro athlete for heavyweight men, and I'm so honored to be with him every step of the way. Like we thrive on each other and we help each other out, and little did we know we're cousins from the same reserve.
But they're from another mother,
I also got to meet that same day I met my buddy Alyssa Anderson, who taught me every single thing I know about strongman. She really encouraged me. She helped me get my foot in the door, and I never looked back. It was just like it was meant to be, like it was destined. So now I work hard in strongman. I put my whole everything into strongman. There's days where I neglect my children because I train so hard. But they know everything I go through. They know that mommy has to do this, and they support me, and it feels good having that support from them.
I want to
My
cut you
husband.
for 1 second, because I feel like that's a comment that I feel like we all say to ourselves. Like I say that, and why I disagree, because like I've had many debates with older women about this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so let's just say in the 40s, 50s, you're home with your kids, whatever. Women are still working at that time, but let's just say you're a single mom. I'm like, a lot of these moms drank a lot, they smoked, they did a lot of things to deal with the unhappiness that they were feeling. So is that really healthy? And my mom, because she was a single mom, she was gone like all the time. And when I was really little, she did stuff with us, but she was not present. I would say actively from ages 5 and up. So really, I think that's parented. You can't be with your kids 24/7, but I think that you're a better, healthier parent when you if you're like, I could spend another hour doing crafts with them, or I can spend an hour working out, and I'll be a happy, healthier, fitter mom. Well, yeah, no, I there's only one of you. Like I would love to do, like I said, be the Martha Stewart of moms and Pinterest mom. And I'm constantly looking for things for my kids to do and trying to entertain them. But, once again, you're human. You're not a robot. You're not a battery with unlimited energy. So I think that it's not neglect when you're spending time to take care of yourself. Like I had to neglect my relationship. That was really hard. That was in the early honeymoon days with my spouse, because I had to go back to school and I have to read all my education online. I think I can't remember if it's 38 or 48 courses I took online in 4 years, which is a lot. And
Wow.
I started working, when both my babies were 3 months old. I started this podcast when my second son was 3 months old. So, I had to recover, and it hurt, man. And it probably will always hurt because, like I said, I wish I could have been there 24/7, but I've given my kids a better life. I'm a better mom. I'm a healthier person. I'm not the person I was 5 years ago. So I don't think it's neglect, because if I didn't do those things, I wouldn't be better mom. That's for sure. So my point is, you can't be 100. You can't be perfect mom. So as long as you're using that time to do things that are healthy for your family, then, right? Like, I don't know. Like if I compare it to something that my grandparents and mom did around me, I'm like, I don't think I'm that bad, So.
Well, in my family, if mom's not healthy, then our home is not healthy.
Exactly.
So they need me to be on my shit. Yep. So that's how I release. Like I said, I suffer from postpartum depression, and I still suffer from postpartum depression. My baby is 8 years old. My oldest is 16. I still go through that. Like I don't know if it ever goes away. I honestly don't know. Maybe it will when my kids are all grown up. Who knows? I don't know. But I need me to be myself, and I need me to feel good and healthy. And when I'm in that gym training, I feel the best. I come home, I leave everything at the gym, and I come home a new person.
Recharge
battery.
And
and when I train, it's not all year round. I only train maybe 4 months, maybe even 3 months out of a year, depending on what I do. Like I said, it's COVID. We don't have what a way to join a sport during the pandemic.
I know, right? Oh man.
At least I can say 2019 and 2021, I took up this hobby of strongman, and I did really good in it. I don't know how, because all the gyms were closed, and I guess I'm just naturally strong, and I just got to be shown direction. And when I'm on it.
When you sent me your info, I just want to talk about some things you said in there, and the pictures, you guys. They inspired. I knew in that moment I wanted to sponsor Ange, but I didn't know what would be the right time, because we try to reserve that for pros. But I did a lot of research, and I was like, listen, with all my heart and passion and soul, I want to support the Indigenous community. And once I talked to you and got to know you, then it was like solidified. But when I read your info, especially when you sent me the picture of you in a Indigenous themed dress with the barbell over your head, I was like, that's just fucking amazing. Like that is literally an encapsulation of being a warrior and changing your community, leading your community. Like, how often do you see pictures like that? Like, to me, that's like poster worthy, calendar worthy, like newsworthy. And I saw that and I was like, holy crap. And just like I said, your story about like the postpartum depression. And I thought it was really cool that you were doing all of these things that I aspire to do with my family, because my family are farmers and Scots. My mom's side Scottish. They used to do the stuff, you know, like hunting. So I want to teach my boys as they get older to hunt and live off the land and all those things that are very true to you. And I think, you know, I think a lot of Indigenous people, I don't want to speak for community, but I think, you know, because I have a lot of Indigenous friends, I think that, and I'm trying to be respectful terms because everyone likes, you know, that to be said a certain way. But, you know, it's like having realistic role models. So you're living off the land, right? Like you're hunting, you're doing strongman, you're a really great mom, you're contributing to society, you're giving back by like feeding the homeless, doing things like that. And I think that a lot of women think that's impossible. So I wanted to talk to you about like your community and how you want to change things, you want to do, some of your goals, and maybe some, like I said, from the perspective of being inspirational, and, you know, things that you'd like to say to young women who, you know, want more for their lives, but feel like they're surrounded by a lot of disparity, which like you and I've talked about in other conversations, because obviously it's possible, you know, and it's just about representation and seeing that. So I guess what I want to know is, tell us about how you did self-train yourself, right? So how did you training? What, because all of this change that happened in your life didn't come in a one flash night. It was little bits of habits and things that you changed to get there. So can you break it down for listeners in your community who, you know, want to be Angie Houle, just like Angie Houle? We need to write a song for you.
We should.
There's a lot of owl hooing in it.
I don't know if I would be allowed to sing it.
I'll sing it. I'll bring a professional, you know.
Well, my biggest goal for me at that time I set for myself when I was going through my depression, I remember telling myself, if I ever make it out and get to experience things and compete at the level that I wanted to be. See, I always had it in my heart. I always knew I was going to compete in something. I just didn't know. I was always into sports, trying to figure out what I was good at. And I always knew I was going to be somewhere with something. If that's weird, I don't know, but I always seen myself on some kind of platform somewhere. It's just a dream I had when I was just a little kid. So when I remember walking around this track with my babies, the one thing I told myself was, I want to be that role model for our Indigenous youth, you know, our young adults, because we go through so much in our reserve, in our communities. We see so much alcohol, we see so much drugs, we see so many lives that are torn apart from trauma, you know, and it's so hard not to get caught up in that lifestyle and to live like that, because it's everywhere, you know. It's awful. And now it's even more worse with our drugs. Our drugs are taking over. It's not just weed anymore. It's meth, it's crack, it's pimp, it's heroin. You know, it's freaking ugly, and it ruins so many homes and so many lives. And so for me right now, why I do what I do is because I want to help our younger women. I want to help bring in programs with mental health. You know, we need a big support in our mental health. We need support in our addictions. We need support in even our homes. You know, there's some families in our homes that don't even know how to clean a home, don't even know how to cook supper for their kids.
There's life skills, right?
Yes, I hate to say that. I know, like, I know there is life skills offered, and that, to me, it's just not the life skills that I would put out there. My life skills would be, okay, I need to show you how to clean a home. I need to show you how to peel potatoes, how to cook for your kids, you know. I look at these younger generations that freaking cook fries and chicken nuggets for their kids. Don't get me wrong, fries and chicken nuggets are okay, but it's not an everyday meal, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's our reality. A lot of people don't know how to cook. A lot of people don't know how to clean. A lot of people don't even know how to drive. A lot of people don't know how to get certain things like a bank account, you know, like
I
that's
can
our
tell you
reality.
right now, if it was not for my mom teaching me how to cook and bake when I was really little, and if I didn't have like home ec in high school, and if I didn't have mentors step into my life in my early 20s, I would not be here. I would guaranteed probably be working the streets or be dead because I had such an uphill battle of climbing the social skills. The other thing is too, is like when you're surrounded by trauma, I don't want to spend the time because it just takes too much time to explain all the scientific research on this stuff. But you know, it affects your brain development, right? And so I had a lot
Oh,
of learning
yeah.
abilities growing up. I still do, but I've got them under
Yeah.
control without shame, in the sense of I know my strengths and weaknesses. I'm honest about them. I'm transparent, no shame, because that's a big word. You know, you have to be willing to forgive yourself and everybody around you to move forward. You have to. You cannot
Yeah.
move forward unless you're willing to forgive everybody, give them grace, give yourself grace, and be not have survivor's guilt, right? Like you are like that's what screwed me the most in my 20s was my own self-sabotage because of imposter syndrome, but also always feeling like I had to take everyone with me, and you can't, you know. And my point is, if there's any positive thing that you can grab on into your community, grab onto it, do it. Your life will grow. You can always change and pivot and transform from there to something else. But just anything that creates positivity in your life, do that. But like, you know, a lot of the group homes and hotels, motels I grew up in were just like really awful. And how do I say this? It's like, it's
Oh,
such,
no, I hear you.
it's just
I get
so,
it. I totally
yeah,
get it.
like it's, you know, I've grew around, everyone I grew up around was Indigenous. I didn't have any Caucasian people around me. And so I can get it because I lived it, right? And it's such an uphill battle to climb. But my point is the biggest thing that changed my life was you can't have shame. You can't.
No,
And you can't,
no.
because the thing is, then you're victim. And I'm not downplaying the hurt, because you can cry, you can get mad, but just make positive steps. Don't shove that trauma down, because you're going to end up crashing and burning. You won't be able to maintain the success. And that's what I struggle with too in my mid-20s. You won't be able to
Mhm.
succeed because you're feeling like you got to be two different people, right? Like hide your past. I'm not saying hide your past. I'm not saying hate everybody from your community or let them go. I'm just saying is like seek, look, find, and do whatever you can to gravitate. But yeah, like you're right. Like it's a lot of life skills to learn. It's a lot all at once. And when you strip a culture from all of those things, it's not going to happen overnight, right? Like it takes
Yeah.
generations to heal generational trauma, right? Like my
Yeah,
mom's
well,
my grandma, I'm doing better than her. My sons are hopefully going to do better than me. It's not overnight, you know? So my point is stop
well,
hating yourself, you know?
yes, that's why I'm working hard now so my kids can have a better life for them. You know, if it's not for me, at least it's for
Yep.
them. I'm like you said, trauma, like we suffered from trauma. Oh my God, we don't even want to get into that. It's
Yeah.
horrible. You know, we've been through so much.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put the blame because of our addictions and all this other stuff. That's another story. But I want to change that. I want to show people, you know, if I could do it, so can you. I've been down that road too, you know, like we can all come together. It takes a community to grow,
It does.
you
And
know,
that's
it
what I'm trying to
does.
say.
It's
It's
not just one person. It takes us
yep,
all. And
yep,
me getting out there and doing what I can and what I'm good at, I want to show that to other people because I always say we're always blessed with some kind of strength
oh yeah.
within. And if we don't share that and spread that, then you know, that's just a waste of a talent. That's a waste of who we are.
Let me tell you
And
something.
I
Every
don't ever want to live with what ifs. I
yeah,
don't. I don't. So that's what from the beginning, I'm not gonna have a what if life. I'm just gonna do it.
yes.
Yes, I'm
I wish
gonna
you could
do it.
see my face. This stupid, you guys, like her bandwidth is so low that Zoom was like, we should turn off your video so you can maintain. I was like, okay. But anyways, um, like this is what I'm trying to say is creator has given every single person a gift. And like I
Yeah.
said, may have to go through, and I'll say this till the day I die, if there's a will, there's a way. You may have to go through a
Yes.
side door, front door, back door. You may have to do it crawling, rolling. When I had to learn how to walk again twice in my life, I was crawling on the damn floor. And that ain't
There you
attractive.
go.
Wear pants. But you know what? Eventually I wasn't crawling anymore. So my point is like, when I was younger, I struggled with suicide and depression from the time I was, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing, I would say probably 6. And there was things that I don't want to disclose that I was exposed to very young, that I can't remember, but my body remembers, you know? And it shows up in behavior patterns and things. So I had so low self-worth, like most of my life. And, you know, I used to say to God, like, if you gave me all these gifts, like, why am I not succeeding? Because then it's just torture. But the thing is, you got to smack yourself out of that, because if you're alive, there's a purpose. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for everything to get good or better, the right timing, because it will never happen. You have to demand your life. You have to say, I'm fucking worth it. My family is worth it. You have to do, like, for your community, it's like, do right by your ancestors, right? They're not here anymore. The kids that were lost in the schools, they're not here to fight for themselves anymore, but you're here and you're fighting for your community and your kids. And that's how I feel too. I can't change the foster care system. No. Let me tell you, I have tried. Okay. I've done a lot of initiatives over the years, but the thing is the corrupt will always be there, but you can always be a warrior. You can always be a saint, a light, and then like a light at the end of the rainbow. You can always do something positive. And success is success. If you are doing something positive for your life, you are successful. You don't need to be the world champion in this. You don't need to have $100,000, right? If you are living a life that you can respect, that you can sleep in the night, and you're doing good things for yourself and other people, then you're successful. And another thing I want to say is success isn't always positive and happy, and you'll have down moments. Even with this podcast, like the learning curve, huge. The peril, learning curve, huge. But it's like, you know, it's like when something feels right in your soul, like say, juice of the positive, it'll come together. So, you know, I think what holds a lot of people back when we're coming from hardship is feeling like, you know, you have to be perfect or have that Instagram perfect story or never fuck up again or never have, you know, any addict would tell you they're always an addict, right? So it's like, it's okay. It's okay to have that trauma, right? It's a slow release. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say? Just keep rolling forward, you know? I say rolling because I'm a panda, you know? Sometimes.
I agree. I totally agree with you. That freaking right. It's freaking A. I love it. Freaking A. I feel like that should be on a t-shirt.
I was just going to say that. We're going to make so much merch. Like, I'm so excited. Listen, the Hood Rat in me has always wanted to say these things, but because I'm so white, like I'm vanilla white, you guys seen me in this video, I'm like a ghost, okay? And like, that's the thing. That's with like brown concealer on. I'm still fucking white. But like, the Hood Rat in me is dying, you know, to be free. So let's make that merch. Let's let it out. But obviously, I'm wondering if when you were facing all of this stuff and you were growing, you're flipping the tires, you're starting at that, because you could have quit at any time and not even turned it into a strongman thing or, you know, pursued that. Clogs were ticking in your head, right? So were there moments where you reflected back on your past, your childhood community? And if you did, how did that affect your training? How did that... Tell me about the emotional experience and transformation of it.
Every freaking strongman show is emotional. Every single one I did not. I always cried at the end. Every single one. Even I didn't cry in front of everybody, but I would go into my truck and I would really have like an emotional breakdown. Yeah. Because I can't believe I am where I am today. You know, I can't believe that I made it to where I want to be in my life. Like, I never thought I would ever get that far. I'm always waiting for something to happen that's negative. Always. I don't know why, but I just am. Yeah. And I really got to move past that. I got to break that barrier of feeling like that negative about myself, because, you know, my spirit needs to grow. I need to this is it. This is what I worked hard for. I need to keep pushing for myself. And yeah, I feel it every single time. And every time I flip my tire, I have about 4 or 5 tires in my yard, in my
Send me
backyard that
some
I flip.
tires. When you come over here, bring a tire with you. That's the new
People give
requirement.
me
You come to my house, you better bring something to lift or flip or whatever, you know?
people give me tires all the time. And I can't say no,
You're
like,
pretty
oh
lucky because you
mom.
try to buy them out here and people like, that'll be $100 to $500. I'm like, for a tire, bro? It's got rust on it. You don't even need it anymore. They're like, that's the best I can do.
Well, I think that's a good thing about Native people. They're always so supportive. They're always so there's a lot of people who want you to succeed, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that don't. And when you can find those people, you hold on
Yeah.
to those people, because those people are going to push you. They're going to push you, and they're going to support you every single way. And those
Yeah.
are the people that are always going to be there for you. Those are the people that are going to help you in fundraisers, that are going to help you get
Yep.
there when you need to get there, and they're always the same people.
You know
And
what?
and I don't need a lot of people. And like I said, if it's just 1 or 2 people, frick yeah, I'll take that. Like, there's so many I have our elders, I work with a few of them, and they're like, Ange, you're gonna make it. You're the strongest woman I know. Like, Indian women they're so powerful, they're so strong, and they don't show. They're so hidden, and they don't take advantage of what they have in front of them, and you did. And really, I could just say I really had nothing other than my stroller and a tractor tire when I first started. I didn't have no fancy gym pass. I had nothing. Like I said, I was poor. I couldn't afford those things.
Dude, I'm telling you,
So,
I understand. I was in
so
major
it's emotion. It's very emotional for me. When I do my meets, it's very emotional. I go in strong and I come out like a little baby.
I know, I feel you. Just trying to look all tough, but you're just a gummy bear on the inside.
Uh-huh. And
Yes.
it makes it even more exciting that I actually podium. Like, I never thought I would podium that fast.
You know what? I think the thing is, though, is that you went about it the right way. You just
Yeah,
did. You just did what you had to do
I
and
had,
lived your
yeah.
life. You had a healthy balance between training and your personal home life. And you didn't I'm not saying not to set goals and specific goals, but you can't beat yourself up. Like this
No.
winter, where I'm at physically now, like the fact that I can push my, 35-pound baby in a sled stroller up and down the hills while my son's tobogganing, I couldn't physically do that. I could barely walk down a hill last winter because of the C-section really kind of fucked me up. So for
Yeah.
me, that's a huge win. I'm up and down my stairs, cleaning my house. I don't sweat. I don't get out of breath with my asthma. So for me, I'm way fitter than I was last year. I'm 70 pounds lighter. So I'm like, cool, I'm lifting barbells, I'm lifting weights, and I'm dancing. So for me, that right there is significant in terms of physical rehabilitation. So it's like, yeah, I don't care. When it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But I say what you're talking about feeling like something bad's going to happen. So what I was going to say is when you come from absolute darkness and you step into light, it's going to feel really weird because if you look behind you, you see darkness. So it doesn't feel like it makes logical sense, right? It doesn't. It's easy
Mhm.
to, when you're surrounded by, say, a successful family. Like that's why they say scientifically kids who grow up with around money are more successful, even if their parents never give them money. It's because it's your body's in a hypnotic state from the time you are a baby till the time you're 6-ish years old. So
Yeah.
there's things that you absorb, and it's like the tapes in your head, right? So
Right.
it becomes kind of the flesh self. So I think the key word you said, which was really important, was your spirit. Everyone has a spirit being. We're all spiritual, even if we don't know it and don't tap into spirit is all around us, right? And so it's like being your carnal flesh self is thinking kind of like an animal and being like, oh God, I gotta be afraid. Oh, I gotta run away. Oh, it's too hard. And your brain has to be your human brain, and your spirit. Even when your brain's like, I don't know, man. Your heart's like, I really want. My brain's like, I don't know. That's when your spirit has to carry over, and it's your why, right? So your why is you need to have. Everyone needs to have a why. Your why is what will get you through and get you going. So your why is a better life for your kids, a better life for your community. And that's why you're like, oh, already? I'm like, you put a good amount of time in. Like, to me, it's perfect timing, and it's what makes sense for the length of time you've been training. If you're not going balls to wall all the time, it's going to take like longer to reach there. But I think you've reached in a very, what's the word I'm going to say? Like, not a common, like a very reasonable amount of time. Like it's on par for what you explained. So it's like, you have to be willing to feel uncomfortable and be the only one in the room. And
Yes.
you have to feel okay with being alone to go forward.
Yes.
Because talk to any super rich, successful person, they're saying the more successful you are, the lonely you are. And that's because you're willing to do things that, you know, people are willing to make excuses for. So I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not.
No, it's not.
I had many late nights crying and praying with my mom on the back deck of my ghetto apartment. The place that we were living, people tried to break into it. I didn't sleep at night because I was afraid if I fell asleep, somebody might break in and hurt my baby.
Yep.
I
had nights like that. Yep. I've been through that too. Yep.
Yeah, I would stay up late and then I'd work, do my schoolwork, and I'd go to the gym and I'd come back and I'd stay up probably, I would say, till 1 or 2 in the morning until I just couldn't physically stay up anymore. And my baby got used to it. He was like, Mom's giving me books, and she's just kind of napping the couch in the morning because I was just so tired. But I understand that of like feeling I couldn't sleep because I thought my baby was going to die or something was going to hurt him or I was going to hurt him. It's like, I understand what it's like to not trust in yourself or trust your environment and trust people around you because they fucked you over. I get that. But one day you've got to trust the right people and take some risks. And if you don't work out the way you expected, once again, if you're learning and you're moving forward, then it's a win. And that's why I think you and I have this really deep kind of connection, soul bond in that sense, because not everybody has lived that. And I can tell you right now, unfortunately, you know, most people I grew up with in the small towns and, you know, foster care, they're not where I am. And that's not something I'm proud of. That's why I don't talk about it. Because people are like, oh, well, you're a rare breed. And no, I'm like, no, stop fucking saying that, because it's not true. All of these kids can make it. If they have people that believe in them and they have supports, these kids can make it. Maybe not 100%, but not 3% like you think. I think 60, 70%. Okay. Like, full stop. You need to, like, you know, you have to, it's like righteous positive anger. You have to say, no, we're gonna make our society better. We're gonna make our community better, and then actively do that through your own life. People always think becoming a hero means you have to have fucking superpowers. You know how you make the world a better place and slow down crime, like you see in superhero comics? You make your own fucking life heroic. You become the hero of your own story, and then everything else around you change. Like Jordan Peterson says, right? Clean up your own home. And that's what I do. Clean up my own shit. I've been on a mission for 5 years. Clean up my own shit.
Yes, I love that. That's yes. Amen. That yes. There you go.
I want so many sound effects right now. Where's my sound guy? I'm currently taking applications. You know? Moderators, come on, Lee. Are you one of those?
Amen to that. I totally agree, man. We need to. Yeah, we need to do it. It starts with us, and we can't keep blaming people for our mistakes, blaming people for what shitty life we had, because it really doesn't get us anywhere in life. I had to learn how to forgive just recently, and it was a hard pill to swallow. But I noticed since I've done that, I was able to move on, and I'm comfortable where I am. I'm not holding on to anything. I'm not holding on to that pain. I'm not holding on to that trauma anymore. It's gone. You know, it's gone.
You know, a lot of women have, there's new research on this. A lot of women have endocrinal issues and hold a lot of weight in their pelvic floor and bloat because of trauma. It's not even, so your body, if it's stuck in a traumatic PTSD state, it holds on to weight. Because, for example, I have perfect health on the inside, besides the isthmus that is born with, but it's actually really maintainable because I don't take vents every day or even emergency Ventolin. So that's pretty fucking good. It's only when I get a cold, then I'm like, oh shit. What was I going to say? Oh, it's gone. Damn it, mom brain. But it's like, you know, you focus on your own health. You have to clean up your own life. And when you clean up your own life, things become better. And the trauma release happens slowly. So for me, I eat healthy, I work out, And the biggest thing is when that trauma is bugging me, I don't sleep. If you don't sleep, once again, triggers cortisol, stress in women, holds weight. So you can be eating healthy. There's this misconception that if you're fat, you eat burgers, okay? Or you're fat because you're genetics. No, trauma, man, trauma.
Yes.
And like whatever makes you feel spiritual and releases, like for me, it's dance. For working out, the working out's for my mind and body, I'm not gonna lie, but from a spiritual heart perspective, dance, full on soul release. So it's like you have to talk, like talking, I don't think makes it better for a lot of people. I think you need to find a way to release it. And I think if the best way for me, I would say people just lift some heavy shit or dance. But if people want to, like I said, feel 100% better, and I feel like you should just try to feel like, not in an unhealthy addict way, but try to feel good for like an hour. And then you'll find that over time, your thoughts in your day are getting more positive. And then you do tomorrow again, or 2 days from that. And then all of a sudden your mood starts to change, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, then maybe I will, cook some dinner, clean the house or whatever. So you don't necessarily have to bring in all these professionals. Just try to do what self-care, right? Like one healthy thing that helps you not feel like a bag of shit, right? And then go from there. And not feeling, once again, bad about feeling like a bag of shit. Sometimes it doesn't mean you're an imposter. It doesn't mean you're not succeeding or that you're depressed. Trauma takes time to release, and that's what I've learned, not telling for anybody else, for me, this past 5 years, healing. I used to have really bad flashbacks of my childhood when my baby was my firstborn, and it would make me cry and fuck me up because you don't remember it. It's really weird. It doesn't get triggered until you have kids. And then you're like, oh, through certain developmental stages. And I would just be like rushed with intense anger, like super, I don't even have words for the amount of anger, like punching in the face anger, crushing things, breaking things anger. And I painted. I'm an artist, obviously, because I have the apparel brand. And I painted through it.
Oh yeah, I totally get that.
So those
I suffer from anger issues too. I used to be a fighter.
I'll rip your hair out.
I used to be really mean. I was very mean. I was a very mean person. But that, like I said, I was suffering from a lot of shit that was going through my life, what I went through in school, what I went through at, it was hard, and I didn't know how to maintain that anger. So I would just lash out on people. It wasn't ever good because I hated myself for that. That's not who I was, and I had to learn how to deal with my anger issues. And to this day, I still have really bad anger issues. And like you said, I just take it 1 hour at a time, I have to walk away the majority of the time, or I have to get in my car and go for a drive. When you're raised in a home like that, it's a different story when you're around
I understand
all the time.
Yep.
When you're around that kind of trauma all the time, it's hard, and you pick it up as a child. You go into young adulthood, then you go into adulthood, and it's like, if it doesn't go away, how does it? I don't know. I took anger management before, and honestly,
me too, girl.
I walked out of that course because I couldn't handle what they were telling me. I was like,
man, we're like twinning. I'm telling you, like that was me and my team. But you know what I was gonna say is, like, foster care still is in certain ways a lot like residential schools, sorry. And it definitely was when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, like the people so before I was in foster care, my mom used to like drop me off at different families. So I was around a lot of narcissistic assholes. So there was like a lot of neglect and anger from them, very strict, but no love. And it was very rigid, but also very religious. And despite all that, I still have my faith, but because I don't believe that's an accurate representation of my faith. Those are just people using, religion to be abusive. But I understand that with you, like I said, you're used to those toxic forms. So I was really passive aggressive, right? And you learn that because when you've been abused, you kind of shun in, and then you shut in so much that eventually explode. And so it's learning to have healthy boundaries. And that's why I have none of the same people in my life now that I had 5 years ago. And they try to crawl up in your DMs, you know, like from time to time we're successful. And it's like, that used to tempt me, right? Because I just wanted love. I just wanted friends, just one hug, or, you know, if I have a successful business, or if I do this, people will love me. And now I'm like, I don't care, man. Like I have my kids. And even if I don't have my kids, that's something I had to face too, was like, I could not be around my kids. Because the whole time I'd be worried if something was going to happen to them, or if CFUS was going to call and take them away. Like legit, I had no faith in myself and in my parenting. So, and just even as a spouse, I'm like, what if I start fighting with my spouse and then someone hears this and they call CFS? Like, I don't think anyone knows how fucking scary that shit is. It's like very traumatizing.
It is.
So my point is like, you have to step up at some point and create healthy boundaries, and not be hard on yourself for having angry outbursts. Like, once again, it's a nerve thing. Like it's a lot of it's so psychologically ingrained that it's just catching yourself. We call them the 3-second pauses in counseling. So just being like, oh, so you driving is still better than you yelling at your spouse, right? So it's still a win, right? You're still dealing with it.
Or throwing around my spouse.
No, hey, if that's what gets you guys all, woo-hoo, ow.
He kind of likes that though.
My husband doesn't like that, but that's like my favorite fucking turn on. This is why I say because I know they can lift me, and I'm like, all you gotta do is throw a sister around, give me a kiss and spank on that ass, and it's done, you know? I don't need roses and flowers. Throw me around, dominate me. I'm a tough ass. So when someone puts me on place, I'm like, hey. How you doing? Yeah, dude. That's why I like
guys, I always say guys like being thrown around. They like being manhandled.
They do.
They do.
Like I used to like, they like to be sit on and like kind of lightly smacked in the face and just kind of shooken and slight tickles, not much because then they get weird, you know, but
not that I thrown a lot of men around, because I didn't. I'm only talking about
watch out. You're gonna have an OnlyFans account with guys coming in if you
I just want to clear that up.
Just watch Stephanie. We should have talked about that. There's so many DMs. I'll just be like 2 days.
Well, people that actually know me would just laugh about that, because they'd be like, yep, that's Ange.
So, like, honestly though, I'm very like loving, but I don't let people mess with me or my kids. I'm grizzly. Like if you come up to me about me and my kids, you better, I'm like, you realize I'm 300 pounds? Like, why? I'm almost feed them 300 pounds. Why are you in my face? This is not going to end well for you, you know? But it's much more controlled, because I would get so upset that I get so emotional, say and do something stupid, not with physical violence, but you know, I'd fuck up relationships. So for me, I'm way past that. I'm either silent, calm down, come back and reapproach. But my point is like the shame really was stopping my progress. So I feel like that's my message for your community today is like, don't be ashamed. You're not lesser than. Whatever you've been told or heard is all lies. It's all bullshit. You know, we're all equals. As a human race, we're all equals. We all don't have an equal footing at the starting gate, but we all have the potential, you know? So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like a well inside your soul. You just got to kind of chisel like the hole deeper, you know, get closer to your spirit and who you are deep inside. Because who we carry ourselves every day is, like Jim Carrey says, is an avatar, right? It's just a reflection of all the memories and trauma and shit that we've been through. That's why if you were to make a clone, the clone is still not like that person, because you can't replace the spirit, right? That makes you uniquely you, but you have to chisel down from the facade, the mask that you wear, right? I don't know any philosophers. I've heard them talk, so don't quote me on names, but you know, you got to get back, you got to get down deep. And deep is, the more deep you go, the more intense it gets. That's why you're not supposed to go hardcore with like a chisel really fast, you know what I'm saying? Or drill or something.
I always tell people, you know, don't give up on yourself. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, if you have a dream and you have the drive to do it, freaking do it. Fucking do it. Go for it.
Yes.
Go for it. And I'll support you, you know, like, because there's so many people that feel like they don't have support. And like, hello, I'm here. I'll support you. I'll encourage you every day. I'll check up on you, you know. But there comes a time where you can keep pushing person, but they don't do nothing. So there's different ways of putting that out there.
It's a community effort, but you still have to make a step though. Nobody can carry you. Like no soldier carries someone for like 4 fields or acres or whatever mathematical measurements. You know, eventually you got to drop the soldier, and eventually he's either going to die. You try to save him, but even if you're like in the hospital, right? Like when you have a C-section, like if you don't walk, you're going to get a blood clot and die.
Wow.
Like when I had a tank of gas, and I will never forget it. I thought having a episiotomy heart, I had like a migraine it literally felt, I'm not exaggerating, because I have a really high pain tolerance. This is my kid, my firstborn. But it was like someone's taking a hammer to my head every 30 seconds. Bam, bam, every slightest noise was like, bam. I couldn't even have my eyes open. I couldn't sit up. I had to lie completely down. I couldn't stand up. I had to crawl. And just even sit on the toilet for more than a second, it was like I'd throw up because the pain was just that intense. And like, you know, I knew though, it's like, you're either going to die from a blood clot or you're going to have to walk through the pain. You know, it's going to get less over time, but you have to be willing to feel pain in the short term. That's what I'm trying to say. Make pain your friend. Like when you do deep tissue therapy with Pokeballs, it hurts, man. I'm 300 pounds. I'm on a little ass Pokeball that fits in your palm of your hand. That fucking hurts. Okay. That's a little ass ball on a big body. Okay. But you know, then it starts to release. So I'm always like, ugh, ooh, like it's a good thing I work out alone because my face is so unattractive. I'm like, you know, and then eventually I'm like, yes. And then it gets weird probably because I'm just smiling like a weirdo, like a clown. But that's how it is. Like life is never just always peaceful. There's always gonna be ups and downs. But in those peaceful moments, you need a big thing, I think, for progress, too, is constantly reflecting on how far you've come. Because it's really easy to compare to someone who you think is more successful. You can be like, well, fuck this then. But if you reflect on, well, it's true, though, right? Like, well, fuck that. Leave this shit. Bounce. Fuck it. Just go home and eat some ice cream. I like ice cream.
I actually had a moment like that today, but I can't talk about it right now. But I had that moment today.
Sensory.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that, I'm gone. Fuck this shit.
Yes. Fuck this noise. I know she had to go, but in conclusion, like for me, the last thing I want to say is, like I said, is you know, own the pain, make it your friend, stop being afraid, stop trying to run away from it. Make peace with it.
Stop crying. Fuck. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop whining. Oh my God, all the time to my kid. I'm like, dude, stop whining. I'll help you. Just I'm gonna lose my mind. Stop whining. It's like fun. He's like, ah! And he's so loud. The whole universe is looking at me like, why are you neglecting your kid, bro? I'm like, I'm not neglecting my kid. He's just lying down whining for no apparent reason. But that's okay. Have your whiny ass moments, but eventually get up. You know, that's what I'm saying. Just get up. Just keep fighting. Just get up another day, and you will survive. Listen, be the biggest crybaby when you're going to be a baby, but just like eventually stop being a man baby or a woman baby, and you know. But in closing, you know, what are some things, if you could give some top 5 tips or messages to Indigenous youth or women that like I said, are listening in, that are inspired by you and want to become like you someday or train with you, you know, tips is from anything from like started working out at home, finding things in their community that they can do. Maybe they're going to be the only person in their little bedroom by themselves working out. What are some ways that someone who is impoverished or doesn't have anything really for supports or workout equipment could do to get started?
Well, you know, we all have milk. We all have milk jugs in our fridges. Fill those up with water, start squatting them.
Hold on, those big ass jugs of water, like those big ass jugs you buy from a store, you know what I'm talking about? Those, I don't even know how much they weigh when they're full of water. Probably pretty heavy though. Probably like 40 pounds.
Yeah. And if you don't have weights, then you can use a can of soup, you know. You don't necessarily need big heavy weights to get muscle. You don't.
You know what's so funny? When I was in foster care, that's actually how I started working out when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. Like I said, it was like jail. And so I would like go in the cupboards when they weren't paying attention to me and work out in the basement. And they used to make fun of me because I took like this stage tape and made a little track in the basement, but it was really fucking tiny track. So it was really skinny. It was like the width of my feet. And then it wasn't long because it was a little ass basement the size of a living room. And they'd laugh at me. They'd come down. These foster care workers used to come down and laugh at me because I'd be running in a circle like a fucking hamster really fast. Who's laughing now, bitch? Who's laughing now? So my point is it works.
Just use what, for me, I would say use what you have, you know, explore your mind, you know, possibilities are endless. If you have a table, well, you could do a push-up on your table. You have a floor, you could do a push-up on the floor, you know. And my DM is always open, you know, if you need help, like I said, I'll encourage you, I'll help you wherever you need. I'll give you some tips. But just don't ever give up on yourself. You know, you're so worth it. We are so worth it as Indigenous. Yes. We are so worth it. Indigenous women are the strongest women I know. And we are so worth it. And we are capable of doing anything we put our mind to. We really are. And we need more support than you'll ever know, you know, and I'm one of those women who will stop in my tracks to support you. I will. And I'm here for you. Even though I might not know you, I'm here for you and I'll pray for you. And, you know, mental illness is hard. Postpartum depression is hard. Life is fucking hard, you know,
it is.
But there is people out there who will support you. There is people out there that will encourage you. And, you know, if you need some love, then we'll share some love too.
Can you feel the love tonight?
And if you want me to sing you a song, maybe I will too. But I'm pretty good at calling in the coyotes and the dogs, so I don't think you will.
I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. I want to say is that we all listen in, and me and Ange are planning some amazing shit. We're not going to tell you because it's in the works, but I'm putting this out there to the universe. I really, really want to sponsor an Indigenous team. So please start lifting. And even if you don't compete, I'm looking. Tag me in post, Panda Strong Podcast. I'm looking out for you. Check out our playlist on Spotify. There's Panda Strong Cardio and Panda Strong Strength. There's lots of hip hop and Cardi B. So black hit. There's a good mix near. You know, like Ange said, like reach out to us on Instagram and Facebook. Like I do care. We're not a podcast designed just to help the super big pros. We want to help the people who don't have a lot of help, who want to be seen and need that support. That is what we're here for. Yes. Like I said, if you sign up with any of our elite athletes who own gyms or do personal training, we'll give you a $20 Panda Strong gift card. You can join our brand ambassador program, get a discount on your merch as well. But, you know, we want you to go from being a brand ambassador to an elite athlete. Like we want to support people who are giving it their damnedest. And are changing their communities. That's the most important thing, is who you are and what is your story. And we want to hear it. We want to share it. So if you have strength testimonies, or you want to let us know how Ange has supported you or inspired you, or anyone else in our show, or even just the show itself, please, like I said, like, share, comment on those posts. We will see it. If you want to donate to the show to help me continue sharing athlete stories, sponsoring athletes, you can purchase merch, but you can also, there's a button on our store called Donate. It's a little, you can buy me a coffee, which I need because I'm a mom and I get no sleep. I had 4 coffees today. Okay. So that helps me stay alive and be able to do the show at 9 o'clock at night when my kids go to bed and are finished, you know, beating me for the day. Just kidding. But, you know, Ange is an incredible person. And like I said, her line, Just Deadly. And how do I say the mask? Wow. How do I say that in Cree? How do I say that correctly?
I don't even know. I can't tell you.
Okay, so if I say this wrong, please no one yell at me because I don't know. She don't even know, so you can't touch me the way.
You might say it wrong too, because it's a hard freaking Cree word. Like honestly, like it's like tongue tied with that word.
You should have seen me try not to spell it wrong in the merch. I had to like triple check it with my eyeballs like 3 times. I'm like, that would make me an asshole. If somebody pulls out the set, they're like, that's not how you spell it. Korean, I'm like, oh, you know.
I'm sorry, all my Cree people. I know I should know Cree. I know a few words.
Masqua. Sorry, guys. I'm getting over like a 4th cold in 4 months, and so my lungs are like, Nina Tikinu. I don't know. I'm gonna try to say it. That was a fail. Beep. There's a fail ball right there. Explosions everywhere. Check it out. Like I said, Angie and I are talking about doing some fundraisers for the community. What I really like to see, honestly, Ange, from the bottom of my heart and soul, and I really truly mean it, because barbells, I started lifting weight barbells in 13 when I was in foster care. It changed my life. Started going to a gym. And back then, you couldn't even be in the gym as a teenager without supervision. I like got an exception. I took all their classes to prove them I wasn't going to be weird and break their weights. And I volunteered with the YMCA, started working there, and that's how I kind of got in. Otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't have been in there, but I wasn't lifting heavy weights because you weren't allowed. If you weren't a dude, they're like, get the fuck out of the barbell room. But, you know, I really want to see equipment in your community, competitions, a gym. If you could do some classes, I would absolutely love to do some like live stream classes or get some weight equipment out to some youth who want to train. And then maybe you do some online classes and teach them. We do some classes. I don't know. But my point is, me and Angie are listening. Please tell us what we can do to improve the community and help. And we're, you know, we can't guarantee anything, but we're always open to ideas and, you know, obviously want to make a difference for sure. So thanks again for being on the show. I really appreciate it. It's through my coughs. Thank you for listening, you guys, through my coughs. And like I said, I really appreciate all the listeners, and I really appreciate you, Ange, because I feel very blessed to know you. You're very inspiring to me and motivating as another sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel about it, you know, different place, right? But it doesn't matter, you know?
Right.
We're soul sisters, the strong women. I don't want to say strength sisters. We'll just say strength sisters.
A hoe to that.
You calling me a hoe? I ain't no hoe.
A hoe has a meaning in Cree.